Hi, everybody. This is episode 10. My name is David Fraser, and this is Good News Only. If you're joining in for the first time, or the second time, or the 8th time, give me a shout out. Glad to have you here. We have an amazing guest tonight. Michelle Moore is with us. Desperado, why don't you come to your senses? You've been out riding fences for so long now. You're a hard one. I know that you've got your reason. These things that are pleasing you can hurt you somehow. You if she's able. You know the Queen of Hearts has always been your best bet. And now it seems some fine thing have been laid up on your table. You only want the ones that you can get. Good evening as well, Jenna Stewart. Hey, Kathy Hall. Hey, Sam Shepard. Desperado, oh, you ain't getting no younger. Your pain and your hunger, oh, they're driving you home. And freedom, yeah, that's just some people talking. The president walking through this world on her own. Don't you think it golden? Time. The sound won't stop, the sun won't shine, and it's hard to tell the night from the day. Losing all your highs and lows, and it's funny how the feeling goes away. Hey Cheryl. Hey Sharon Woodstock. Cole Stevens is back. Alison Urquhart. Oh, desperado, why don't you come to your senses? You've been out riding fences, so open the gate. It may be raining. Oh, there's a rainbow above you. Better let somebody love you. Let somebody love you. Better let somebody love you before it's too late. All right, welcome everybody. So we got Arthur Robinson, S. Carol Eaton is here, Deb Peacock, welcome back. Jamie Padnode, good to see you. Nancy's here, Nancy from Uxbridge. Thanks for coming back. And Dave Ken, how's it going, buddy? We got a great show tonight. It's gonna be super fun. This is a song I wrote way back in the day, kind of as a joke about my hometown. I grew up in this hick town that you may have heard of called Petrolia, and I wrote this song, and it kind of became like a local hit. Like people in the song. Or people in the town will sing it at, high school graduations, and it even got played for the Zamboni drivers' retirement party. Kind of a big deal. So while I play it, guys, where are you guys at? Scale of 1 to 10. Are you fun? 10, awesome? Are you 1, terrible? I'm at about a 4. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I'm at a 4, but I'm thinking I'm going to be an 8 by the end of this. So that's my goal, is that we pump those numbers up. This one's called the Petrolia song. Well, was found here years ago. So they decided to build this town known as Petrolia, Ontario. If you haven't been, I suggest you go to one of the only places I know, the beer store next to an LCB. Oh, why can't I run? Why can't I hide from the place where I grew up inside it? Petrolia, my own town. It smells like oil all around. By Tim Hortons by the pound. But you wouldn't want it any other way. Well, the Squire's been closing for over 3 years, a cheap excuse to sell a few more beers. You can go down to Munchies for a burger deal. It's just $5 for a munchie meal. You can say that the air is fresh in here, but no, 'cause the drive from the back in here is Petrolia, my home sweet town. We throw our pitches straight from the mound. But we're still so much better than Perry sound. We wouldn't want it any other way. Well, it seems in every place I go, see small town faces I know. Well, I can't change who I am. I'm a small town boy, not a big city man. It's Petroleum, my home sweet town. It smells like oil all around. And our family trees are kind of round. But we wouldn't want it any other way. All right. So a lot of people are in various degrees of awesome tonight. Somebody says, I'm a 6 out of 10. Janice, I need a pick-me-up. Your show is helping. Ice cream is helping too. We just got groceries today. That's part of the reason I'm so bummed out. So I'll a little bit of sharing time. I can share, right? This is the schedule for today. So this is my sharing. So went for a walk down the side road to see the cows and the horses. And I had my daughter Evie with me. And there's this family that we're kind of friends with, and we chat with them. And they're out. So we're like, ooh, people we can talk to. And then my daughter Evie, my youngest, like skinned her knee while we were running around, and we had to take her back to the house. My daughter's like, I just wanted to see my friend. So we ran back. We chased them down before they got home after dropping Hope off with her mom. And then we had this wonderful chat. I lost complete track of time, and I was supposed to go pick up groceries from the grocery store. We had our click and collect time slot out, all booked, and I completely lost track of time. So I got in big trouble with Carrie. I managed to still get the groceries, but I just jumped on this live stream like in the last 2 seconds. I still have my t-shirt on. But I guess that, that's like that stressful feeling of like, are we going to get food and all this stuff? And I screwed it up. So anyways, I got to talk with a human being today, which was really nice. From a social distance, of course. But it was a bit of a stressful prior to this call. So I'm already at 5, having talked about it. We're going for 8 here. So yes, this is going to be a fun evening. And I'm going to take requests. I'm actually going to take requests. So if you got any requests, you can throw them. This might be, I don't know if it was the last episode, but this is definitely episode 10. I committed to doing 5 straight and then another 5 straight, and I've done it. So provided I don't die or something tonight. got no money in my pocket. I got a hole in my jeans. I had a job and I lost it, but it won't get to me. Yeah, strumming on my six string, and it's a brand new day. I'm on the wings of the angel, flying away. Yeah, yeah. Got the sun shining, and this road keeps winding down the greatest country from Georgia to Tennessee. I've got the one I love beside me, my trouble behind me. I'm alive and I'm free. Who wouldn't wanna be me? Baby's got my six string across her pretty knees, stomping out a rhythm, singing to me. Sweetest song in this sun, shining in this road, keep winding down the prettiest country from Georgia to Tennessee. Got the one I love beside me, my trouble behind me. I'm alive and I'm free. Who wouldn't wanna be me? Stomping out a rhythm across her knees, yeah, yeah. Singing out, singing out, singing out, sing it to me, yeah. Sweetest song in the sun, shining in this road, keep winding down the prettiest country from Georgia to Tennessee, Georgia to Tennessee. Yeah, son, I love inside me, the trouble behind me. I'm alive and I'm free. Who wouldn't wanna be me? Wanna be me? Awesome. Well, everyone with the encouraging things in the comments, thanks so much. Hey, everyone, and got some cool stories. All right, so someone had to go back to BC. I'll share this story. This is a story from Cheryl. She says, my daughter had to fly back to BC today. We are both teachers, and she had to go back to start teaching online. It was so hard to send her away on that plane. On a positive note, though, her seatmate gave her a mask because he had a spare. That's very cool. That's very kind. All right. Here's two good requests, Nicole Stevens. High and Dry by Radiohead and Don't Look Back, and we'll play both those songs later on tonight if I have time, okay? So I would like to get to our first guest. This is Michelle Moore. I thought it was a really, really interesting conversation that we had, and I think you'll enjoy it. All right, everybody, welcome to my interview with Michelle Moore. Michelle is an expert, and she is she's the founder of MindEQuity. And basically what they do is they help people in the workplace focus on what's truly important and put aside distractions. And I thought, Michelle, in light of everything that's going on right now in the world, and the way that we've all been kind of shifted from our normal routines into something different, I thought you'd be the perfect person to bring on the show and just help give us some practical ideas and some thoughts on just how we can, avoid getting distracted all day and focus on, ultimately what's really important. So thanks so much for taking the time to be on the show.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about your backstory, and kind of how you got into this really interesting space.
Yeah, so my backstory is I'm actually a new Canadian. So Canada is my fourth country of long-term residence. I grew up in the US and in Germany. And then I spent 15 years of my career in Moscow, Russia. And I moved here actually from Moscow to Canada when I fell in love with a Canadian Indian who's been living here for like 35 years. So that's what brought me to Canada. Professionally, I worked for 28 years in technology driven organizational change. And I did that as an equity partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers. And the way I got into this current focus on attention, or this current focus on focus, if you want to use the same word twice, is that when I was leading these technology and innovation teams for a period of like 25 years or so, I witnessed this really slow erosion of our attention as we got more and more digital tools into the toolkit to solve, workforce solutions, to solve personal productivity solutions. And in particular, in the last 5 years, I've been working with Canadian technology companies, and I've really seen productivity just go down because of not only digital distraction, but like open office space distraction. So it seems to me that this thing that I'm calling the distraction monster has appeared in our personal lives and in our work lives everywhere. So that's how I got into this.
The distraction monster. I like the way that sounds. That's an interesting avatar to think about. I know, I was born in '84, and I was one of the last resistors of the cell phone, right? So I was really interesting. I had the childhood that was cell phone free. You had to call your friend on a landline. You had to actually show up at the playground at the appointed time you both agreed on, And at some point in university, that whole world flipped to everybody had this thing that they used to, except me, right? I was the only guy in university, and even after university, that didn't have a cell phone. And I was kind of like this weird elf guy that you had to plan ahead with if I was going to show up, right? And since I started dating my wife, and she got me into the cell phone thing, and then it's been attached to my hip ever since. And what part do cell phones play, you think, in that distraction monster paradigm?
So for me personally, I was raised similar to you without a cell phone, but I was taught, maybe accidentally or on purpose, I don't know, I was taught that multitasking is a talent and is a thing. So I grew up multitasking like crazy. Then I entered this consulting world, and multitasking was even more rewarded, even though now we know that multitasking is not even possible. And so
Tell me more
when
about
you
that,
bring in the
because
cell phone,
hold on,
yeah, go
sorry to
ahead.
cut you off. Tell me more about that, because multitasking is not possible. That is, I believe, to be true as well. What's the research behind that?
So it's just proven that the brain cannot have two things going on at the same time. So even though you believe that you're multitasking, you might feel that you're multitasking, your brain actually has to switch its mode into other things. And so I don't know the research source of that, but for many years it's been written that multitasking is not something a human brain can do. And we have this illusion of multitasking. And in my case, I really struggle with it on a daily basis because I have been doing it for 50 years, and because I enjoy having multiple screens open at the same time on two monitors, for example, right?
Yeah.
And that constant task switching actually, there is research that says that every time you get a notification on a cell phone or any other distraction, because it could be from a person entering your office or whatever, that it takes you 23 minutes to get back to the task that you were doing.
Wow.
So if you're interrupted by a cell phone notification, the stat is on average you're interrupted 80 times a day.
Wow.
You can't even calculate 80 times 23 minutes. How are you getting back to the task that you were trying to focus on?
It's a miracle we get anything done. So
awful. Yeah.
So to summarize, what you're saying is, you can't text and drive. You can text or drive, is what you're saying, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's incredibly insightful. And so to your point about multitasking, I think everybody watching this right now should comment below how many browser tabs do you have open right now. I'm interested to see who's going to have the most browser tabs open. I have an idea. It might be Heather Moronic, my assistant, but I could be wrong. So if everyone could comment, how many browser tabs do you have open? How many browser tabs should we have open, Michelle?
So it depends on what you're doing. If you're doing the type of work that I would call deep work, or that Cal Newport defined as deep work, which is work that you have to do in an undistracted environment. So let's say you're writing a blog. I would consider writing a blog to be deep work, because to do a good job at that, you need to focus on what you're writing. You need to be creative in that moment. And so if you're doing something like deep work, like writing a blog or doing something strategic, then you should have one tab open for writing your blog. If you are doing something logistical or transactional, then I think it's okay to have multiple tabs on, things that don't require, tons of brain power. So let's say you're processing some invoices, answering some emails. It's still not good to multitask, but I think in that situation, you're not eroding as much brain power.
Okay.
So it's really about understanding, when do I need to be doing undistracted work, and when is it okay to be a little distracted? It's not going to interfere so much with the quality or the value I'm trying to create.
Cool. All right. Is it ever okay to have 54 browser tabs open?
I think 54 is probably never okay, is my guess.
Okay, good to know. Okay, sorry. So really, really great answers there. So you told us a little bit about the backstory, and then what are you kind of doing right now in light of like everything in the schedule has changed? What are you doing personally to keep focus on what you need to keep focused on?
So what I do personally is I know that it's impossible to do more than 4 hours a day of undistracted work, or it's impossible for our brains to handle more than 4 hours of deep focused work a day. So I try to block so somewhere between 2 and 4 hours a day, I block in my calendar for undisturbed time. And that's the time when I also close those browser windows so that I don't have an email notification or a Facebook notification. I put my telephone in a different room so that I can, and these days working from home every single day, which I don't normally do, I'm managing maximum 2 hours of focused work a day. Because too many people want Zoom calls, and so my calendar gets too scheduled with all these Zoom calls, and so far I haven't been able to manage that down to increase the focused work. So that's kind of what I'm personally facing. I don't know. Did I answer your question? I feel like I went off.
No, that's actually very helpful. So one of the concepts that I've learned over the years is to have kind of try to split your days into different categories. So basically I have like kind of 3 tiers of days. So one is like what I call a focus day. So it's a day where I try to get 80% of my kind of work is like that bigger picture, maybe not full on deep focused work, but not like administrative kind of, like Joe job works. And then, so that's day one is a focus day. The other day is what I call a performance day. So for me, actually, since I'm a musician, I perform. Or with the other business, I create content and kind of, or talk to people on the phone or whatever it is, kind of the performance aspect. And then the third is like what we call a buffer day, which is kind of like when you have to just slodge everything else together. It's kind of like your catch-all day. So that's a really oversimplification of that time process. But if you're saying you can do about 4 hours of focused work, that would be a very productive day. I find that my own personal issues are like, having 3 small kids at home, and my wife and I having no babysitter access right now because of what's going on. it's really hard to get even more than 1 hour of like actually a focused time. So that's my struggle, I guess.
I'm very impressed by your description of the three types of days. I think you're absolutely ahead of most people. And I would also pat you on the back if you're getting 1 hour of focused work in when you have three kids at home without a babysitter. You are doing a phenomenal job. So I don't know how you could do better, to be honest. I
Okay,
think
well,
that's pretty
thanks.
good.
Yeah, it's easy to beat yourself up because in my brain, I think about all the things I could be accomplishing if I could just sit down and focus. And that, ironically enough, will distract me a lot of the time. And I'm like, oh, I could be doing this, you know. So it's really hard for me to always be in the moment. That's always been a struggle of mine. And having,
It's a human struggle,
yeah,
Dave. It's a human struggle.
yeah, for sure. So in light of that, what do you have any specific things maybe for me that you would recommend or that you
So
do?
I would also add, I don't know how much this coronavirus situation causes anxiety in you, but I've been talking to a lot of friends and colleagues who are not sleeping very well. They wake up worried, or there's someone in the house has a cough, so there's a bit of panic feeling in the belly, and there's this light anxiety. And so when anxiety is present, which it's normal for all of us to have anxiety right now,
Yeah,
when anxiety is present, it also decreases our ability to focus. We actually become tense. And when we're tense, we can't think very well. So that may also be something we have to be more kind with ourselves about during this time, and not setting our productivity goals so high, because the world is an uncertain place right now, and it is what it is. Yeah.
yeah, that's really good advice. Yesterday we had Will Greenblatt on the show, or I guess 2 days ago, since this will air on Saturday. So 2 days ago we had Will Greenblatt on the show, and he just talked about how a, a lot of our self talk is so like well, it's unconscious, but it's also can be very negative. And to try to treat yourself like talk to yourself like you talk to a friend. You wouldn't be like, "Come on, Dave. Why haven't you put together a full on commercial today? The world's falling apart. What do you. So you'd be a lot more compassionate, like, I get that you're anxious right now, David. It's okay. You've got a lot on your plate, as we all do, right? So that's really good advice I got from Will, is just like try to be a little more compassionate. And what you're saying is, I don't want to oversimplify it, but you can lower the standards a little right now. Do what you can with what you've got, and don't worry about what you can't do. Is that a fair
I
assessment?
mean, I wouldn't even call it lowering standards. It's putting a value on it. I would say, let's acknowledge that we're human beings with these fears, and with these, capabilities. And right now, we just acknowledge being human. I don't think it's lowering the standard, to be honest. I think we just have to be with what is. Part of being present is accepting what is and just letting it be,
Yeah.
and not reacting to things we can't change, right? We personally can't change what this virus is doing around us, other than self-isolating. So
Yeah.
we can take a certain action that helps us be in control and do this self-isolation and other things that are being recommended. But we can try to stop reacting to things we have no control over. And I say try, we can only do it to the extent that um, we're human too, right? And it's normal to be anxious about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've talked to some entrepreneur friends that are kind of glued to the news pretty much all day, and they've just totally shut down. Trying to not, well, obviously, I'm trying to counter that with good news only. This conversation and conversations like it. So, it's really easy to get sucked into that, right? I don't know what it is. Like, why is that car crash so alluring as you drive by? Why is bad news so distracting and so alluring and so um, glittery to the human mind?
well, the brain has a survival instinct, right? So that reptile mind engages, and the news stuff, some of it's a dopamine hit, right? Some of it's just the dopamine hit that we get from these things that enter like a notification, but the news is even worse. And it can spiral us into hours and hours of the dopamine hit before we even realize it. I think what's important is to have active rest. So there's a difference between active rest and passive rest. So if we're binging on Netflix or if we're sleeping excessively, that's kind of passive rest. But active rest is we take out a coloring book and draw with our kids. Or active rest is cooking without distractions, right? So there's active rest that helps our productivity and can help our anxiety and help us be present. So I think it is important to get enough rest. And of course, getting enough sleep is part of that. But I find it really interesting, this difference between active and passive rest.
So is active rest about just being cognizant of like, okay, I'm turning the cell phone off now. I'm turning on, like, basically just actively pushing stuff aside and be like, I'm going to just do this one thing, or I'm just going to chill on the couch and read a book or whatever it is. Is that the difference there, that you're actively pushing?
Yeah, active rest is done with intention, okay, right? So you could even say active rest is watching a film with intention, but as soon as we just are resting by binge watching Netflix, we are not watching this program with intention, right? With an intention to learn something or intention to rest by watching it, right?
Yep.
I think that's the difference. I mean, active rest is also taking a walk in nature. That is also considered active rest because we're moving. Any type of fitness where we're concentrating on our weightlifting practice or our yoga practice, if we're doing that intentionally, that's active rest, and that actually makes us more productive when we come back to work after that.
Yeah. Okay, that's really good advice. I think I get the idea there. So that's the kind of the practical stuff for individuals. Is there anything practical you'd suggest for, someone with a family like myself? Like, what are some specific practical things that I can be doing to ensure that I'm present with them and then present with the work I need to continue to get done?
Yeah, so trying to plan your day in such a way that you have time for undistracted work, and then plan and tell your family, this is when we're going to schedule time together, and this is what we're going to do. And maybe consider doing device-free things together. Consider playing games together, or going out in the backyard and chasing the dog, or taking a walk together. I mean, cooking together, doing even a creative project together. Because in this day and age, I think all of our kids are so used to doing things on a screen. And sure, we can watch a movie together, but because we're cooped up at home all the time, if we can create something together, or, make a play together, anything that is analog during this stay-at-home time, I would recommend trying to build that in. Because then when you're working, you can say, kids, now watch your movies or play your video games while I'm at work. And maybe that's an easier way since there's no babysitter, right? But to give a balance between the analog activities and the digital activities.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to, I don't want to say limit screen time, but just have some really non-screen time options, like going to see the cows and the horses, or just jumping around the trampoline. And the good thing is my kids don't really have a whole lot of screen time, but in general, so it's not, there hasn't been this huge swing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. I guess is there anything you want to add? Because I'm getting a lot of value personally out of this. I hope that the listeners are as well. I realize to the extent that I haven't really been able to, like, my issue, I think, has been not ever really switching off over the last little bit. And with regards to the news dopamine hit, I think, when I think back about it, any of the news I've been reading or listening to, I don't think it's practically helped me in my actual day-to-day life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it hasn't made
totally.
me more prepared, or if anything, I think some of the news that's come out of the mainstream sources has left people underprepared. So it would have been better just to ignore it all, I think, to a certain extent, other than obviously, like, don't be a jerk and lick people's egg cartons and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think if you're watching Good News Only, you're probably not that type of personality anyways, so I can exclude you right now. So, okay, so I guess is there anything else you want to add? Because I'm getting a tremendous out of it. Is there anything that you wanted to put across that I maybe was too uninformed to ask about?
I think the only thing I would add before I have a final thought is the playfulness with ourselves and playfulness in this time of crisis, right? To try to add play into anything that we're doing, be it work or the act of rest. I think a quality of playfulness and comedy and humor can really help us a lot.
Okay, cool. I think that's really good. That's great advice. So in closing, I always like to ask everyone, what is something uplifting, positive, or encouraging that you have for hope for the future right now?
So I believe every situation has a lot to teach us. I think we're going to learn a lot about ourselves. We're going to learn a lot about the planet. We're going to learn a lot about health. And that is a positive thing. Anything that is learning coming out of that is a positive thing. But related to this attention and distraction thing, I believe that we can embrace technology. It's only going to increase with artificial intelligence and everything else. We can continue to embrace technology, but we can do this in an intentional way. And we can welcome technology and be intentional about it, not allow it to become our master. Right now, technology is a bit of a dictator. And I fully believe we have the capability to become the masters of our tools again if we put some intention to it. And we don't need to kind of succumb to these beliefs that I hear people around me saying, oh, well, technology overwhelm is here to stay. We can't do anything about it. Or, oh, workforce well-being, that's not really possible. We have to be, on 24 hours a day. I don't believe that. I believe we can continue to be productive, happy human beings and use technology at the same time.
Yeah, that is 100% true. I think that it involves putting up boundaries in your own life of like, here's where, work day starts and ends. And then I think it has to do with allowing other people, not like respecting other people's Sunday afternoons or respecting other people's boundaries as well. So something that we're working on, I think is a work in progress for our family and our businesses. And I think that, this opportunity that we're all in to get a little bit of a pattern reset, I think it's really going to open up those conversations are going to be a little easier to have.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate it. I know you're a busy person, so I really appreciate your time.
Thank you as well, Dave. It was fun.
Okay. Have a great.
And you're doing great.
Thanks. Talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye for now. Check. All right, guys. That was a really awesome interview. I got a lot personally out of it. What did you guys get out of it? I'd love to see some comments about kind of your thoughts about that. And if you could, share a small win you had today. A small win for me, I already shared it. I got to talk to someone, another human being not in my family, in person, from a comfortable 6-foot distance. And something helpful everyone can benefit from. I just want to reiterate how helpful masks are. A couple studies came out not too long ago where, N95 mask, while not perfect, does actually reduce the rate of infection a fair bit. And all the way down to like wearing a bandana or even just doing this with your shirt. Obviously less effective than a mask, but better than nothing. Unlike what the World Health Organization was tweeting about a few weeks ago. But definitely proven to be true. And if you look at the countries that are using masks on a more regular basis, countries like Japan, countries like Singapore, countries like basically all the Asian countries, because there's not as much of a weird stigma about masks, definitely doing better. So we got to remove that stigma about being the weirdo with the mask. In my opinion, that's the good news you can take with you to the bank. And they're probably going to force us to use the mask anyway pretty soon. So. 2 jumps in a week. Bet you think that's pretty clever, don't you, boy? Flying on your motorcycle, washing on the ground beneath the drought. Kill yourself for recognition, kill yourself to never ever stop. Running on the mirror and you're turning into something new. I'm not. Don't leave me high. Don't leave me die. Don't leave me high. Don't leave me dry. Drying up in conversation, you'll be the one who cannot talk. Now your insides fall to pieces. You'll just sit there wishing you could still make love. They're the ones who'll hate you when you think you've got the world all sussed out. They're the ones who'll spit at you, and you'll be the one screaming out. Don't leave me high. Don't leave me die. Don't leave me high. Don't leave me dry. Oh, it's the best thing that you ever had, the best thing that you ever had. Oh, it's the best thing that you ever had, the best thing that you had is gone away. Don't leave me high. Don't leave me die. Don't leave me high. Don't leave me die. No, no. Don't leave me high. Don't leave me die. Ooh. Don't leave me high. Don't leave me dry. I wrote this song for my grandparents. They were married for 58 years. Will you take my hand? 'Cause I'm a simple and honest man. Raise the cattle and work the land on the 8th line. 'Cause I've been watching you, and I know that you'll be true. Asked your dad if I could marry you. He said that'd be fine. This is only the beginning of. This is only the beginning of love. And 50 years will pass us by in the blink of an eye. A time to live, a time to die, both day and night. So when the sun is getting low, you'll hold my hand and we'll both know we'll never reap where we have sown, but that's alright. 50 years. Will you take my hand? 'Cause I'm a simple and honest man. Clear the bush and plow the land to plant this seed. Maybe we won't be rich, but I don't have that gambler's itch. We won't borrow money that I don't have for what we don't need. This is only the beginning of. This is only the beginning of love. And 50 years will pass us by in the blink of an eye. A time to live, a time to die, both day and night. When the sun is getting low, you'll hold my hand and we'll both know we'll never reap where we have sown, but that's alright. 50 years. To those that I leave here, take hold of hope so strong and clear, that a selfless life, my dear, is in your reach. Dear friends and family, as you say goodbye to me, don't forget the lessons that a simple life can teach. This is only the beginning of. This is only the beginning of love. 50 years will pass us by in the blink of an eye. A time to live, a time to die, both day and night. So when the sun is getting low, you hold my hand and we'll both know we'll never reap where we have sown, but that's alright. 50 years will pass us by in the blink of an eye. A time to live, a time to die, both day and night. When the sun is getting low, you'll hold my hand and we'll both know we'll never reap where we have sown, but that's alright. 50 years. All right. Well, I'm gonna play one more. If you got a request though, we might have time for one more request. So let's if you got a request, feel free to type it in. We got a time for one more. And I might actually be able to do a little bit of chatting at the end too, since this is potentially the last episode. So let's do some chatting. Somebody requested 1,000 years. I think I might be able to fake that one. Heart beats fast, colors and promises. How to be brave? How can I love when I'm afraid to fall? Watching you stand all alone, all my doubt suddenly goes away somehow. One step closer. I've died every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I'll love you for 1,000 more. Time stands still, beauty in all she is. I will not doubt, I will not let anything take away. Standing in front of me, all my doubt suddenly goes away somehow. One step closer. I've died every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid. I have loved you for 1,000 years. Love you for 1,000 more. And all along I believed I would find you. Darling, got the heart to me. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. One step closer. One step closer. I died every day waiting for you. Darling, don't be afraid. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. And all along I believed I would find you. Time has brought your heart to me. I have loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. Thanks, Dave Kent. That was a great request. I've actually played that song before. Usually my wife sings that one. Guys, thanks for tuning in. And thanks for tuning in. Is anyone tuning in for all 10 episodes? That would be I want to give a Lifetime Achievement Award to you if you've done that. Now, all the archives are going to be on our YouTube page, on the Bunky Life YouTube page. I've got a little playlist put together. I'll put all the songs. And I guess I would love to get everyone's opinion on, what would you want for frequency? So I thought, every day, let's try every day. That got to be, I guess, a little much for me, just where we're at personally with the family and stuff. So, what would be your ideal frequency? Once a week, twice a week, something like that? What do you guys think? I'm just going to chat a little here while we're on the topic. So, some people are saying, this is Wendy, she says, it's been a huge break from all the bad news. Great job, Dave. Thank you, Wendy. That's very kind. I'm glad that that's been the case for you. I might skip this weird channel. Okay, that's a lot better. Some people are saying they've enjoyed it. Ellen says, I hope you can do more of these shows. They're fun. I'm glad they're fun. I enjoy doing them. And I want to let you guys know I really enjoy doing them as well. I just also need to be cognizant of like other obligations with family and stuff too. So I always feel better after I do these. Like the end of the show, I'm like, yeah, that was fun. I think this is going to be our final song of the night for sure. Great request idea, Janice. And I'm sorry, Lynn McIntosh, I don't know Stompa. It's a great Newfie song, but I don't know it. And I don't really know I Hope You Dance either that well. Alright. So, some people are saying 2 per week, twice a week, once a week. Yeah, I think, okay, once or twice, that might make sense. I think that'd be fun. Now, let's get deeper into that. 8:30 is good for me because I can put the kids down, say my goodnights, and then do it, come up and do the show. But is there other times of the day that would be better for you guys? And also, what day of the week, or weeknight, or weekend night would be best? So you could comment that. That'd be wonderful. What time frame would be best, and also what day of the week. I also thought about having a slightly longer show and having 2 guests. Who's been while we're in let's pick your brain mode. Who's been your favorite guest? For those of you who caught all the guests, they've all been amazing to me. I don't know who my favorite. I wish I had John Dillo's audio a little better because I love John Dillo as a dude, and I love what he had to say, but I kind of butchered his audio. Yeah. Midweek. Someone saying midweek. Cool. And everyone's saying, now that we're home, any day is great. Every day works great. Evening is best, yeah. Anybody with kids. And so. What is this comment? I don't understand what this means. Carol says, 8, I think you mean 8:30 is great. 8:30. For some reason it's adding a little emoji to that comment. 8:30 Friday or Saturday, yep. Cool. Cool. Alright guys, well thank you so much. I'm going to play one last song. Let's sing this one together. Oh, one more thing too. So I'm probably going to email everyone that's on the actual list. You need to go to goodnewsonly.ca and sign up your actual email in there. And I'll email everybody and probably ask the same question, would you like it? Which day of the week? And the people that actually vote on that will probably get their way. But 8:30 seems to work for everyone. That's good. So probably be 8:30. Maybe a midweek and a weekend. I'm just spitballing here. Yeah, and let's play this last one together. This is a really good uplifting way to close.
Strange and beautiful all tonight that dance around your head. In your eyes I see this perfect world. I hope that doesn't sound too weird. And I want all the world to know that your love's all I need, all that I need. And if we're lost, and we are lost together, and if we're lost, we are lost together. Stand before this isolated digital crowd, wonder why we bother. So much control by just a few, stumbling from one disaster to another. I want all the world to know your love's all I need, it's all that I need. And if we're lost, we are lost together. And if we're lost, we are lost together.
When I think about the lyrics of this song, I always think about what I usually say when I play at the pub. I'd usually have like a little quiet moment like this, and I'd get everyone to get quiet. I talk about how the song always reminds me of the apocalyptic doomsday scenarios that the crazy soap people would always talk about. Man, it feels more real today than it does back then. Are we all going to be eating out of garbage dumpsters and fighting for food in the grocery store or fighting for toilet paper? Is the economy going to implode? I don't know the answer to these questions. I'm just the guy that plays guitar for a living and sells amazing bunkies. But I do know this. If we are screwed, at least we're screwed together.
And I want all the world to know that your love's all I need, all that I need. And if we're lost, we are lost together. And if got lost together, together, together.
Guys, thanks so much for being part of this. Thanks so much for tuning in. And we'll see you again next week at some point. I will email everyone, but only the people that sign up under goodnewsonly.ca. Those are the ones that will get emailed. So do that and have a wonderful night. God bless everyone. Talk to you soon.